What I think they need to do is they need to digitize. It's a digital transformation that is beginning to happen in this business. And it's about stringing together the solution to cover what is incapable of being handled by human teams.
Welcome to Multifamily Insights. I'm your host, John Casman, and I want to thank you for joining us for another great episode. Listen, if you're enjoying this show, do me one little favor and leave us that rating and review. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And listen, we got a great show today. We're going to be talking to Maribeth Ross. Hey, Multifamily Insights listeners, if you're looking to invest beyond multifamily, make sure you check out the Invest Beyond Multifamily Conference this fall, Wednesday, October 11th through Friday, October 13th, here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Listen, you're going to learn how to invest in non-residential commercial real estate and master the art of scaling your commercial real estate business. Now, this event is being hosted by Ash Patel, guest on the show, and he's featuring great speakers such as Nate Barger and Joe Fairless. If you want to learn how to invest beyond just multifamily, be sure to check out this event October 11th through the 13th. All you have to do is go to investbeyondmultifamily.com/fall-conference. Again, that's investbeyondmultifamily.com/fall-conference. Maribeth Ross is a seasoned marketing expert with over 2 decades of experience in B2C and B2B marketing. Now, as the CMO of PERQ, she has an extensive background in digital experience and how buyers behave and engage. Now, her passion lies in creating experiences that provide buyers with what they need throughout their journey. With a deep understanding of marketing technologies and their evolution, Maribeth has recently focused on marketing technology for the multifamily industry. Let's welcome to the show, Maribeth Ross.
Hey, John.
Hey, Maribeth, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Listen, it's great to have you on the show. I went over your bio at a very high level. Why don't you take 2 minutes and fill in some of those gaps?
Yeah, so I am a career marketer. I've been in the business for longer than I care to admit. I've done marketing for both consumers and for B2B businesses with like a lot of background in tech, actually. My favorite thing that I have done in my career is really become an expert in how buyers buy. And that's a skill that can be applied in, any vertical, B2B or B2C. But it is my favorite thing to do to crack that code and understand what it is that moves them from a point of interest to a point of sale.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, I think your background is ripe for this, and I know you're doing more in the multifamily space when it comes to the marketing background. And as a former marketer myself, I'm always excited to talk to marketers. One, just to kind of keep me sharp of what's going on out there, but then also I feel like we can speak the same language. So you talked about understanding how buyers buy. Give me a little context on that.
Yeah. So um, they used to refer to it kind of as persona marketing, right? This concept that you try to understand an archetype of your buyer. And I think while persona marketing is a really smart way to find the ability to scale your messaging to your audience, it also doesn't touch on the fact that not everybody's exactly the same, right? And so the ability to research and understand the process that someone, in the case of multifamily, for example, the process that a consumer would go through from the point that they realize, I need to rent a new place, to the point where they're ready to sign a lease, really understanding what those steps are and what information they need to move from one step to the next step. That's the kind of stuff that I think powers marketing and powers sales to be successful.
What do you think let's talk for multifamily right now. So
Sure.
for those multifamily operators, what's something that would surprise them about that buyer's journey that, hey, maybe they've been doing it one way all these years, and there's kind of an aha moment that you realize that most multifamily investors or owners are missing?
Yeah, golly, I think we're at a huge inflection point in multifamily right now. What used to be a very manual process where, somebody would see a billboard for an apartment complex and they'd get all excited about it and they would drive into the leasing office and they would go on a tour, right? That world no longer really exists. Today's consumers are far more digital than they've ever been in the past. And research is showing that they're becoming a lot more digitally oriented around their buying process. So they're spending way more time conducting research before that time that they even go in for a tour. And so the surprise aha moment here, because I know everything that I just said isn't really all that compelling, but the surprise aha moment is these people are starting to look a lot more like consumers that buy on Amazon, right? So marketing and selling an apartment is not that much different than marketing and selling something to consumers elsewhere today.
Yeah, and I think the thing that helped to accelerate that obviously during COVID, where
A hundred
you had all the
percent.
restrictions where people couldn't physically be there. Well, we saw a rise in virtual tours and so much, with technology, touring by themselves and just, using kind of the keypad to access the units. So we definitely saw kind of a lot of the tendencies start to change during that time frame. I know for our standpoint, we've placed more of an emphasis on that digital presence to kind of
Mm-hmm.
coincide with what you were just talking about. So maybe in the past, it wasn't as important to have virtual tours or kind of a 360 rendering of the units, but those things are becoming more and more important based on everything you're saying. What are some things
Mm-hmm.
that the best operators are doing to make sure they capitalize on this kind of changing footprint where now those renters are leading with digital before they even, book an appointment or even take a look at an apartment?
Yeah. Oh gosh, there's a lot to unpack here. So the first thing that I would say is there has to be a recognition that the consumer experience matters more now than it ever has in multifamily. And the reason I'm saying that is because for a long time in this industry, it's been an amenities race. Make sure that your property has all of the amenities that the property down the street has. But I mean, let's be real. There's really solid parity between most properties these days, right? And when you have consumers that are more digitally oriented and they're conducting more research online, the experience that starts online becomes way more important because that's the thing that's going to bring them into the door to see your property to begin with. That's a huge deal. And so, I've been marketing a long time, as I've already said, but back in the day, the term was content marketing, right? That was a big thing in B2B. Move people through the funnel by providing them the content that they need to move from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3 and ultimately, sign the deal. That is starting to come to life in the multifamily business because now you've got consumers that are actually looking to learn more than just about the amenities of the property before they go into tour. And so if there's any one thing that I think is super critical for multifamily investors and operators to be thinking about is what does that digital experience look like, right? And are you providing a, cohesive renter's journey where the brand feels consistent all the way across? Are you providing the timeliness and turnaround that people expect? Are you giving them the content that they actually need to make some decisions and shortlist your property? And that brings up the recognition that this is a lot more work than it used to be, right? And so there's the economics of the multifamily business where you're like, oh, we got to keep costs down, right? NOI, it's all about NOI. But marketing and selling in this business is becoming more and more expensive when you have all that stuff to do.
Yeah, you just gave some great insights there, right? Understanding this renter's journey, that experience starts from the moment they're online looking at
Mm-hmm.
different apartments. And whatever they get from your apartment, that's going to help them understand whether or not it's going to be a good choice. And I love the way you phrased it up saying that it used to be an amenities race, right? You had a pool, you had a gym, you had free Wi-Fi, you had all these things. Great. That's all you needed to convince a resident to come stay at your property. in today's environment, it is really about the experience. A lot of the competitors that you're going to be looking at are going to have similar amenities, if not the same exact amenities that you have. And you certainly don't want to compete just on price and move-in
Mm-hmm.
fees and stuff like that. So what is that experience like? You talked about it from, the timeliness, the responsiveness, what experience are they getting? What feedback are they getting about what it's going to be like to live at your community, throughout those digital touch points? So placing greater emphasis on that up front is going to help you in the long run. And you're right, it is a lot more work, right? It's not just a matter of go put up an ad, throw it up on Zillow and apartments.com, and then boom, people come. You've got to do a little bit more work to cultivate that. So how are you seeing operators start to adjust or make any changes? Are they allocating more in their marketing budget, or are they doing other things to start to understand how to create a better experience?
Yeah, so I think the revolution is happening now. And it's really about the adoption of technology to figure out what part of this process can be automated and taken out of the hands of the on-site teams, because they can't be expected to handle all this work that we've been talking about. And if we're really being honest and candid here, right? One of the things that I wish we could admit out loud in multifamily is something that I saw in B2B, again, way longer ago than I care to admit, which was this notion that just because we know somebody's contact information does not mean that they're ready to buy from us, right? And so the ability to know when a an individual is ready to speak with a member of the on-site team versus somebody who's, we just know who they are. And the ability to ferret those people out and use humans where humans need to be used, and then use automation on the front end of that process to identify when that time is right. That's the kind of stuff that I think is going to revolutionize this business.
No, I love that. And you're spot on. I mean, we got to get smarter about leveraging the information we have and the insights we have to understand when that human interaction is
Mm-hmm.
necessary. You talked about technology, and technology has obviously always been huge, but even more so now as artificial intelligence is really starting to transform the way a lot of businesses are doing business, but also thinking about their business moving forward. What are you seeing out there as far as the impact and implication for multifamily investors?
So the AI business is far ahead of multifamily right now. Multifamily is coming in a little bit late to the game on the automation and AI technology, but it's really nice to see that it is beginning to happen, right? And as you mentioned earlier, COVID really kind of spurred a lot of that on, because suddenly there was this need to digitize things that had been face-to-face interaction. And so the early adoption around artificial intelligence has really been in multifamily has been around automation. And I think the automation tools that are becoming available in the multifamily space are getting better and better, and certainly more and more of them as time goes on. And for me, the best piece of advice to give to multifamily owners and operators is this notion of understanding the renter's journey and understanding where you can apply technology to help make that something that you can execute against well in terms of consumer experience, but also keep your costs in line to make your business successful. Because, solution A is you throw a whole bunch of bodies at it and you've got a massive staff that does stuff, but we all know that that's not possible, right? So the answer does lie in technology. And do I feel like multifamily needs to jump to the latest and greatest in AI technology or most cutting edge? No. What I think they need to do is they need to digitize. It's a digital transformation that is beginning to happen in this business. And it's about stringing together the solution to cover what is incapable of being handled by human teams.
Yeah, so let's dig into that a little bit more, right? Because I
Mm.
think you're spot on with kind of your assessment of where things are and where the improvements need to happen. Earlier you said, "Hey, one solution is to throw more bodies at it, which certainly seems costly and not, efficient. But also our on-site team, we don't expect them to simply be customer service reps 24/7. So when we think about leveraging technology and leveraging things we can do in the digital space, particularly when it comes to, again, those touch points with prospective residents, give us a little
Yep.
more context of what that actually looks like, right? Because as an owner, I'm hearing dollar signs. Man, we got to invest a lot of money in, these folks who are sitting here answering the phone or responding to emails, responding to text messages. But obviously, there's some technology, some different ways to tap into that. So give us a little bit more there.
Yeah, I mean, so there are a few different categories of technology that I think are applicable here. I mean, the obvious one is conversational AI, right? So artificial intelligence that can put the ability to answer frequently asked questions using AI on multiple channels. Today, you can find vendors in the space that do this not only on your website, but you can do it on social sites. You can do it on your, Google business profile. You can transfer phone calls to text exchanges where the actual AI is answering the inquiries that are coming from the consumers rather than tying up your on-site teams with this work. And this is great technology. It's come a long way. It continues to get better. The important tenets there, of course, is ensuring that you have technology that knows when and how to hand that consumer off to the on-site team at the right time, which we talked about before. So conversational AI, I think, is a big one. Another one is the ability to offer personalization. So, my background is in personalization. I worked for a personalization technology company just as personalization was, beginning to become cool some time ago. The reason I'm big on personalization is because of the stuff that we talked about a little bit earlier about persona-based marketing and understanding the buyer, right? Understanding the consumer. I'm a believer that there's an archetype of your consumer and buyer, but not everybody is that person 100% of the time. You're never going to create an exact replica journey for every single person. So the ability to adapt digitally to someone's needs when they have them is what I call personalization. A lot of people think if you put John, comma, at the beginning of an email, that's personalization. That is not personalization, right? But what I want John to experience is I want John to come to my property's website, and I want him to be served an experience. Maybe he plays with a widget on the website. He picks out a floor plan that's perfect for him, and then he leaves the website. And when he comes back the next time, it says, "Hey, John, welcome back." That's a big deal. And then it also serves up the next experience that's going to take him from having selected the 2-bedroom floor plan that he loves to maybe exploring the neighborhood and making sure that it's a fit for him. So the ability to provide the content that, in this case, John needs on his renter's journey is absolutely critical to success, I believe.
Yeah, I love that. I kind of chuckle at the personalization comment because I think some people misunderstand
Oh,
the
true
goal
story,
there
right?
and just write the name in. Cool, it's personalized. It's like no, like I
No, it's
understand that
not.
there's a tag you use for that. I think for a lot of owners, this all sounds good, and part of the pushback I'm sure you've seen over the years is like, sounds good, but I've been doing it this way for X amount of years. Why should I change now? We've kind of talked about the why you should change now, right? That
Mm.
renter is going to force you to change now because if they can't find your property or they don't have a good experience in the digital landscape, you're going to see your property struggle versus these ones who are. But it still comes down to numbers, right? So what kind of return, what kind of return on investment are you seeing those groups, those investors get who are employing, or utilizing some of these technologies in their business?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I see this every day in my work because I work for a technology company in multifamily space, and what we're starting to see is that PMCs that are doing a really good job maximizing the potential that comes from their website leads. And let's think of these website leads as virtually, free prospective renters, right? Because a lot of them get there via organic or from your Google, business profile or whatever. Um, Companies that are doing a really, really good job at that are driving down their costs of acquisition quite a bit because they're having to rely less and less on paid sources to get their leads. And in addition to that, businesses, PMCs that are doing a good job managing those leads through to being agent ready are able to ensure that their agent teams are not overworked. They're keeping their employees happier so that they don't leave. And in some cases, they don't even need to fill some open vacancies because they've got technology handling some of that work that is well suited for automation work. And that adds up to dollars. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and the conversion. Talk to us about that, right? I know people are trying to, increase that conversion rate, getting more residents and getting more applicants. How well is this technology able to help with that?
So technology does help with it quite a bit. And, when you think about a marketing to sales funnel, right, there is obviously the conversions from stage to stage that occur. If your conversions are low, you got to put more stuff in the top. The stuff that you put in the top often are paid leads. That drives your cost up, right? So ensuring that your conversion rate from stage to stage is improved drives costs down and gets you, better profitability on your property. Using technology to help automate can improve those outcomes 2 to 3x. That's in general what we're seeing. But the big kicker is when you have those excellent conversion rates as people move through the, renter's journey funnel, if you will, you have to put less in the top. There's less stuff you have to pay for at the top. And that not only saves money, it frees up money for other things. So this whole idea of making sure that somebody renews their lease, you can put more resource to that if that's something that your property needs, because of the use of technology to help improve those conversion rates and require less to be dumped in at the top.
Yeah, and I think too, we've talked a lot about prospecting, but we haven't even talked about the existing resident base. And obviously, some of these tools and technologies can be utilized to help with, again, renewal notices and other things like that. So it's certainly something people
100%.
should look into more.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that kills me in this business, because it's so different than the other verticals that I've worked in, is marketers in multifamily space, they buy leads from their traditional lead sources, right? And this person either leases or they don't, right? When they don't, it's the lead is deaded out of the CRM. It's gone. It's like, never to be seen again. But this person is going to lease again unless they buy a property. So why aren't we doing anything about that? And this is what is so different about multifamily and is starting to change. And it's something that I push really hard on in this business is those leads have value. You paid for that thing and you need to recycle that thing. And so I'd love to see marketing in multifamily evolve to be more like marketing in B2B, where you're constantly nurturing those leads. You understand when the buying cycles are happening. You're sending timely things. You're trying to re-engage them after a period of time.
Yeah, and I
And
think too,
that's
like I'll just say, like for many people, especially if you have like a value add strategy where you're going in and you're renovating units, and you may have new news to share with these leads. So maybe the
mhm.
property looks new and improved from the time that that previous prospect looked at it. That might be a great update to share. So to your point, those leads are very valuable, especially if you knew they were considering your property at some point. To get back in front of them is just a nice opportunity and can help to lower kind of your cost of acquisition.
Yeah, and even if your property hasn't changed since the last time they were there, their circumstance may have changed. They may need a different unit, a different floor plan. They may have changed jobs, and the place that they selected that was closer to their old job isn't as close as where they are now. Like, there's just so much to consider. So the idea of taking that lead and throwing it on the floor, like, makes me crazy.
Yeah, that's great points there. Talk to me a little bit about PERQ, right? So we've talked about technology and marketing as a whole. Talk to me more specifically about where PERQ works and helps, and then who's kind of your ideal client.
Yeah, so PERQ is a marketing automation platform that was purpose built for multifamily. A lot of the stuff that we've talked about today are things that PERQ is able to help with, providing tools for AI tools for conversational AI, providing interactive experiences on the website that personalize that website experience, having the intelligence to know when a lead is ready to speak with the on-site team, and providing all the automated follow-up and nurture that might be needed in the marketing process up until the point that that person is ready to speak with an on-site team member.
I love
So
it.
yeah, we love what we've built. We're super excited about really being this industry's first marketing automation platform. We work specifically mostly with the marketers directly. That's who we typically talk to. And it's usually either owner managed or owner operated PMCs. And, the typical profile, I guess, has a handful of properties, with 100 units or so each. And they employ us because they are looking to figure out, how do we scale all this activity that we need to do, right, with all the challenges that they're having with, keeping staff and workload, as we've already discussed. And then also, how do I differentiate myself with experience, right? And that's really, I think, what PERQ does best.
Yeah, so mainly property management companies, sounds like around that 100 unit or so range is kind of the ideal
Mhm.
client, but obviously you work with other clients as well.
Yeah.
Is there a minimum number of units? So if we have someone who owns maybe a 5 unit, is that too small for PERQ, or is that something that they should still consider?
Um, it depends on the economics. We tend to find that companies or PMCs that have a small number of units can usually scale the work associated with it without the use of automation. So we don't want to sell somebody something they don't need. But yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know. And again, as you're looking to scale your portfolio, it may not be a fit today, but it may be something to think about in the future, right? When you go from
100%.
5 to maybe 50 or up to 200, maybe this becomes a play. So just keep this kind of stuff in mind. Technology is always evolving, but the more you can focus on that digital experience, the more you're going to win with prospective renters. For folks who want to learn a little bit more, where's the best place for them to go to reach out?
They are welcome to visit our website at PERQ.com.
All right. Right now, we're going to move to our round of insights. Are you ready?
Oh boy, I'm ready.
They say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you want to grow as a multifamily investor, you have to spend more time with other multifamily investors. And an easy way to do that is to join our apartment investing mastermind group today. Just go to casmancapital.com and click on the mastermind button. Now, as a part of this group, you'll get access to expert trainings, group coaching calls, industry news and updates, as well as all of our webinars and workshops, including our 3-hour workshop on raising capital. Again, if you want to be around other multifamily investors that can help you scale your portfolio today and grow your network, make sure you're a part of the Apartment Investing Mastermind. Just go to casmancapital.com and click on the mastermind button today. All right, give me a failure or an apparent failure that set you up for later success.
Oh, wow. So earlier in my career, I did a stint running both sales and marketing. And I wasn't a dismal failure at it. At least I had that. But what I realized was I was not cut out in the sales realm at all. And why it's set me up really is because it's given me a respect for what it takes to be a successful salesperson, whether that salesperson is selling software or they're selling a lease at an apartment. It's a tough gig. And there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into that. And it's a very different animal from marketing. So, that was a big learning moment for me, and I think it's led to me being able to work well with sales teams as a result.
Give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for your business.
You know what? Here's a good one. This is actually for multifamily. In general, there's this platform that's being stood up called Revise. I think it's spelled REVYSE. And what it's doing is it's bringing together multifamily operators and multifamily technology suppliers in one platform. And it's providing a place for operators to talk about them amongst themselves about best practice related stuff, but it's also providing technology reviews on multifamily technologies, which is something that doesn't exist anywhere in this space right now. And I think it's desperately needed as this digital transformation is occurring.
Give me the book you've recommended or gifted the most in the last year.
Yeah, so this is an easy one for me. So there's this book. It's called ZAG, Z-A-G. It was written maybe about 15 years ago by Marty Neumeier. Are you familiar with this one?
I'm not.
All right. So this is like a timeless business strategy and marketing book. And it really talks about, similar to what we were saying, like the amenities race and how everybody's sort of level set. It talks about that phenomenon that just regular differentiation doesn't exist really out there anymore. And it talks about this concept of radical differentiation, which I personally think has an intersection with consumer experience. So this is a book that I really like and recommend to anybody, whether you're on the business side or the marketing side, really in any vertical.
All right, I love it. All right, give me a daily habit that helps you stay focused on your goals.
So I've started, I have two actually. Can I give two?
Absolutely.
All right. Thing one, I do a daily morning, I call it my Zen walk. So I live in Kennebunk, Maine, which is coastal southern Maine. And the coast is like 0.6 miles right down here. And I go down to the beach every morning and I take my Zen walk, and I'm less doing it for fitness reasons, even though, obviously there's that benefit as well. But it's more about just like grounding myself and settling and calming for the day. And it's really like cleared my mind and made me go into the day ready. I have to get up a little earlier to do it, but so there's one thing. And then the other thing is, I guess, also fitness related. I am obsessed with my Peloton, like oddly obsessed with my Peloton. And while I don't believe that it is a cure-all for everything, I know when I've had a tough day, I can get on that bike and I can ride, and I'm going to get off that bike feeling completely different. And so I use that to, get the lead out when I've had a tough day, I guess.
All right. I love those both. All right. Give me your number one insight for creating a great resident experience.
So I believe that consumer experience is, the center of the multifamily universe, right? And you said resident experience, but that experience begins before somebody becomes a resident. And my insight is that it needs to be consistent. So whether they are not yet a resident or they are a resident, their experience with your brand needs to be consistent. If you've been super responsive during the process of getting them to sign the lease, you need to be super responsive once they become a resident. And so providing them with that sort of consistent brand experience means that they get what they expect and they're more likely to come back and renew.
All right, let's go in a little bit of a different direction. You talked about being in Kennebunk, Maine. Give me
Yeah.
your favorite place to grab a bite to eat.
Oh gosh. So, fun fact about Kennebunk, Maine is there are tons of amazing restaurants here, like tons of James Beard award-winning chefs, like more than you can even imagine. So, and I love food and I'm a foodie. But my favorite is an Argentinian steakhouse called the Lost Fire. And they have every cut of every kind of meat you can think of, and open kitchen concept. And you can see them cook all of these things over open flame. And it's, I mean, the food's beautiful and delicious, and the atmosphere is tremendous. So
I love
that's
it.
my fave.
Sounds great. Sounds like a great place. Well, listen, Maribeth, you gave us a lot of great information. I loved your background in marketing, but also talking about how multifamily operators and owners can leverage the changing world of technology to just create a better resident experience. And it's not just doing it to do it, but it's to drive the bottom line and recognizing that renters are changing. They're focused more on digital now. They're doing a lot of their work before they step foot on your property. So they're going to do a lot of research. They're going to look at pictures. They're going to look at everything that you have available. And that experience needs to be consistent. So those who want to win moving forward are going to focus heavily on that renter experience from the time they find them on a website to the time they actually get them to be residents on site. Again, if you want to learn a little bit more about this and see if PERQ might be able to help you, you can go to perk.com, PERQ. Maribeth, want to thank you again for being a great guest and coming on Multifamily Insights. We look forward to staying in touch with you and hope you have a great day.
Thanks so much. You take care.